how exactly does cancer end a human life? This is the question that haunts families, patients, and even students of medicine. We hear that someone died of cancer, but what does that really mean biologically? Cancer isn't like a heart attack, which can kill in minutes, or like some infections, which sweep through the body with obvious symptoms. Cancer is more cunning. It develops slowly, spreads quietly, and in stages, dismantles the very systems that make life possible. And we are not going to explain what cancer is, how does it spread, or what are the causes. Because we have already covered those topics in our previous videos, you can check them out on our channel. So let's get started. Cancer doesn't kill in one way. The first thing to understand is that saying someone died from cancer is a little misleading. Cancer doesn't usually kill in a single, straightforward way. Instead, death from cancer is the result of a combination of problems that build on each other: organ failure, infections, bleeding, metabolic chaos, and complete energy collapse. So let's go through the main ways cancer takes a life. Cachexia, body consuming itself. One of the most devastating processes in advanced cancer is what doctors call cancer cachexia. If you've ever seen someone in late stages of the disease, you might remember how dramatically thin, weak, and wasted they appeared. This isn't just losing weight. It's a whole body syndrome driven by the tumor itself. Here's how it works. Normally, when you eat, your body digests food, breaks it down into nutrients, and allocates those nutrients to both immediate energy needs and to maintaining tissues. In healthy individuals, it's a balanced economy. The body only uses what it needs and stores energy when food is plentiful. Cancer cells don't play by those rules. They are like greedy parasites inside the body, consuming far more glucose, fats, and amino acids than normal tissues would. To make matters worse, cancer cells don't just take. They actively reprogram the body's metabolism to feed themselves. They release chemical signals that send orders to fat tissue and muscle tissue to start breaking down faster than usual. Muscle protein gets chopped into amino acids, which are then sent to the liver to make glucose that feeds the tumor. Fat stores are burned at rapid speed, not to sustain the patient, but to satisfy cancer's demands. The result is almost grotesque in its cruelty. The body literally starts eating itself alive. Patients lose not just fat but also essential muscle mass. The heart muscle weakens. The muscles needed to breathe shrink, making it harder to take full breaths. Even if the patient eats a lot of food, cachexia continues, because the underlying problem isn't lack of food, it's cancer forcing the body to mismanage its resources. This syndrome alone contributes to death in a large number of cancer patients. Organ failure. When tumors destroy function. The second pathway to death comes from the sheer physical presence of tumors inside critical organs. Remember, a tumor isn't a helpful structure. It doesn't pump blood, it doesn't filter toxins, it doesn't process oxygen. It simply grows and replaces healthy tissue. Take the liver as an example. The liver is one of the most vital organs for life. It detoxifies blood, helps in digestion, synthesizes proteins that allow blood to clot, and manages metabolism. A tumor in the liver doesn't just sit quietly. It expands through the tissue, destroys normal liver cells, obstructs blood flow, and blocks bile ducts. Eventually, the liver can't keep up, and toxins begin to build up in the blood. Patients develop jaundice, confusion, bleeding problems, and ultimately can slip into liver failure. The same logic applies in the lungs. A lung riddled with tumors simply can't exchange oxygen properly. If airways are blocked, parts of the lung collapse. If blood vessels are compressed, circulation is impaired. The patient begins to suffocate from inside, not gasping suddenly like in drowning, but slowly as oxygen levels inch downward each day. And in the brain, tumors cause a different horror. Because the skull is closed and rigid, there's no room for expansion. As the tumor grows, pressure builds. Vital brain centers for breathing, heart rate, and consciousness can be squashed. Death in these cases comes not from the tumor mass directly, but from the pressure that mass exerts on the most essential switchboards of human life. So cancer kills through organ failure, by suffocating, crushing, and replacing the basic machinery we depend on. Immune collapse, vulnerable to infections. A third piece of the puzzle is the immune system, which is often disabled in advanced cancer. Normally, The immune system is our personal army, patrolling the body and destroying threats. But cancer weakens it from multiple angles. Tumors can release suppressive chemicals that reduce the ability of immune cells to activate. Cancer spreading to the bone marrow may prevent normal production of immune cells altogether. And on top of that, treatments like chemotherapy and radiation, while attacking cancer, often further weaken a patient's immunity. This leads to a cruel irony. People with cancer often end up dying not from the cancer cells themselves, but from opportunistic infections. A simple pneumonia, which a healthy person could fight off, becomes deadly because the body is defenseless. A urinary tract infection might spiral into fatal sepsis. So when doctors say a patient died of cancer, what sometimes happens in reality is that cancer destroys the immune system and an infection strikes the final blow. Bleeding and clotting. Another way cancer claims lives is by destabilizing the bloodstream. Tumors can erode into blood vessels, causing serious internal bleeding. A patient with advanced stomach or intestinal cancer, for instance, might begin to pass large amounts of blood. Over time, this leads to anemia, leaving the patient too weak and oxygen-starved to survive. In other cases, bleeding can be catastrophic and sudden. At the opposite extreme, cancer also increases the risk of blood clotting. Proteins secreted by tumors make blood more sticky. This hypercoagulable state can cause clots to form in the legs, break off, and travel to the lungs. A large clot in the lungs, what doctors call a pulmonary embolism, can kill in minutes. So cancer destabilizes the very river of life, the blood supply, making it both too thin in some places and dangerously clogged in others. Metastasis, the final siege. Perhaps the most infamous feature of cancer is metastasis, its ability to spread far beyond the original site. By this point in your learning, you already know what metastasis is, so let's focus on why it's so dangerous in the pathway to death. When cancer cells take root in distant organs, they don't choose unimportant locations. They settle in bones, brain, lungs, and liver, all places essential to survival. Each metastasis is like a new, spreading wildfire, and the body can only handle so many fires before resources are overwhelmed. If the liver is studded with metastases, detoxification shuts down. If the lungs fill with metastatic nodules, oxygen exchange collapses. If the brain fills with cancer colonies, seizures, paralysis, and coma develop. At this stage, the body's systems are bombarded from every angle. This is the point in many terminal patients' journeys where the progression becomes unstoppable. No single tool in medicine can fix multiple organ systems collapsing at once. Systemic collapse. With all these factors piling on, cachexia, organ destruction, infection, bleeding, clotting problems, and metastasis, the body enters a final state of collapse. Doctors call this multi-organ failure. As organs fail, the body loses its balance, what scientists call homeostasis. Oxygen is no longer delivered properly. Waste products build up in the blood. The heart grows weak. The lungs can't expand. The brain ceases to regulate vital rhythms, and metabolism spins out of control. At this point, whether it's from liver failure, respiratory collapse, sepsis, catastrophic bleeding, or simply exhaustion from all of the above, life ends. And that, in essence, is how cancer kills, not with one clean strike, but by slowly orchestrating the downfall of the body's defenses until survival is no longer possible. Why can't we stop this easily? You might wonder, if we understand all this, why can't modern medicine simply stop it? The trouble is that cancer is built from our own cells. Unlike infections, where the target is clearly foreign, cancer cells look very similar to normal ones. It's like trying to find traitors in a crowd where everyone looks the same. On top of that, cancer is a moving target. Within the same tumor are many different cell types, each with slightly different mutations. So, in summary, cancer kills not in one way, but in several working together. By stealing the body's energy and resources, by shutting down vital organs, by leaving the body defenseless against infections, by causing deadly bleeding or clots, and by spreading until no system can hold out. It's a complex, brutal, and tragic process. But understanding how it happens is important, because knowledge is what allows us to keep developing better treatments. And the truth is, there has been real progress. Many cancers that were uniformly fatal just a few decades ago are now treatable, sometimes even curable. Survival times are lengthening, and every year, medicine closes in with better tools. So when we say cancer kills, what we really mean is that cancer gradually dismantles the systems of the body until life fades. Thank you for watching and for joining me in this journey to uncover how cancer does its damage. It's an intense subject, but understanding it gives us perspective, courage, and determination to keep pushing forward in medicine.